Hi there, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Regina, this is Our Gifted Garden, and in today's video we are going to do some garden cleanup, some garden maintenance, and some preparing this garden for the fall. But before we get into it, go ahead and click that like button. I'm sure you're going to like it. Trust me. And if you're looking for more gardening content here in North Texas, the Zone 8A is where I am, just outside of Dallas. Then go ahead and click that subscribe button. And of course, click that notification bell so that you never miss an update. And if you know other gardeners who you think would like this content, then go ahead and share this video with them. All those things help me, help my channel, help me to grow the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. So as far as what we're doing, so here in North Texas, I think thankfully we are out of the 100-degree days. I think we're done with those for the season, and I could not be happier. It was kind of brutal. We had a lot of them, and they started early. So now is the time of the year when we can actually start prepping for fall, even planting some of those fall crops. I'm going to hold off just a bit until it's a little bit cooler because we are still getting into the 90s. I want to hopefully keep things from bolting on me. Like in the spring, my pak choi and my tatsoi all bolted really early, and I didn't get to enjoy them as much as I would have wanted to. So I'm trying to wait just a little bit for it to cool down a bit. But right now, because it's still quite warm, it's still summer, there's some things I need to clean up so that my garden is actually ready. Now, I'm not going to be pulling out most of my summer stuff. Some of it I'm just going to leave because I want it to produce into the fall. Because it got so hot so quick, some of my veggies that I was hoping for this summer I didn't really get a whole lot of them. Like my green beans and my yard-long beans and my peppers. I definitely got some peppers, quite a bit, enough to sustain me, like for anything I needed to cook with, but I didn't get a lot that I could chop and freeze. I have a couple of bags maybe, but not many. So I'm definitely leaving those peppers to produce throughout the fall for me until we get a freeze. And my green beans I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna actually plant some more of those so I can get more of those throughout the fall. Hopefully we don't get a freeze until late like we did last year. But there are some things I also need to take down to prepare for some fall stuff. And some things I'm taking out because of pests to prepare for fall stuff. So let's get into it. That's enough of me talking. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out this corn. I'm going to turn so you guys can see it in just a second. I planted some corn. I planted some over in my tomato bed and it did okay. And then I planted some a little bit later in the corner of my bed where I mostly have perennials and a few annuals. And it did not do well. Like the corn looks terrible. Like, I don't know if the heat was not good for it. It looks all moldy and dry. It's gross. I didn't get a single ear. So, you know, you live, you learn. Not everything works out, and that's okay. But what I need to do now is pull that up because I want to eventually plant my beets there and maybe also some carrots as well. We'll see. But I gotta get this pulled up. So I'm gonna start with that. So right behind me here is the corn. Y'all, it looks like crap. So I'm gonna start by pulling this out. As I do this, y'all, I'm pulling out some stuff today. Y'all say a little prayer for me that I don't stumble across a gigantic grasshopper because I might lose it, and I really want to get this done. All right. Okay, that was relatively painless, so time to move on to the next task. Okay, so behind me now, also sorry for the noise guys, we're near the air conditioning units and they're almost always running. So, but while I'm removing everything, I'll most likely will mute it and put some music over it because I'll fast forward it. So you don't have to listen to it for that long. But right now, the next thing I'm going to do is here, in this area behind me, this is my arch trellis where I have my cucumber, I had some watermelon growing, and some other kind of melon growing. Well, I am going to pull these things out because I have a really bad, like, I think it's aphids and maybe something else, infestation, and it's starting to spread to other parts of it. And to be honest, off of this trellis, I've gotten a couple watermelons, I got a couple of Sharon-Tice melons, and lots of Armenian cucumbers. But what I want more than Armenian cucumbers are green beans. So I am going to pull all of this out rather than spray for these pests. I actually did try spraying it, and it didn't really work because I only sprayed a little. This area, bees love it, and I don't want to spray a lot of pesticide and hurt the bees. So I sprayed it, but kind of barely. So I'm just going to pull it all out so it doesn't spread to my okra, which is right next to it. And yeah, and then I'm going to plant seeds for a fall crop of green beans and cross my fingers that I have enough time to get a crop of green beans. Like I mentioned, I've barely gotten any green beans this year, and last year I grew enough for my entire year, like where I could cook green beans every week or every other week with dinner, and I had enough of them. And this year I barely have frozen anything. So I really would rather get more green beans. Those are more valuable to me than cucumbers. So that's what I'm doing now. Y'all cross your fingers for me. Like I said, it's overhead, grasshoppers, all kinds of stuff. Y'all, I don't like bugs. I'm in this garden and I understand why they exist. I appreciate them, but I do not like them. I don't want them on me. So y'all, just say a little prayer for me. I know, like, by the time you're watching this is past tense, but you know, prayer works. So say a little prayer for me that I do not end up with bugs on me. Okay, so this area right here, this is where most of the bugs and stuff are. Look how black that is. It is really gross. Even grosser up close. So I just want to get rid of all of that. Now while I'm pulling out the plants, I'll probably run into, I'm sure I have some Armenian cucumbers in there that I'll need to harvest, but I'll harvest those and set them aside. I'm just going to pull all this out and put it in the trash. I also have this phobia of things landing on my head. Yikes. Alright, I'm going to keep working on this a little bit off camera, just because it's just running down my battery, doing it this way, and I'm kind of slow, but I'm going to work on this a little bit off camera, and here is what it looks like now that it's done. So here is the arch, all cleaned up. And I already planted my green beans in here. I planted some yard-long beans and some other green bean varieties. So hopefully those will be coming up in the next couple days, and we'll get a nice crop before it freezes. But it looks nice and cleaned up out here. Pretty great, huh? Can't wait to plant my beans here. They're gonna look really nice growing up this trellis, and hopefully I get some beans before we get a freeze. Alright, so the next thing I need to do to prepare for the fall is to get rid of the leaves on my kale, collards, etc. Let me move over there and show you guys. Okay, so the bed behind me is where I have a lot of my brassicas. The challenge is that during the summer, there are lots of moths that lay lots of eggs that like to eat the leaves of these brassicas. Now, for part of the summer, I sprayed them with BT pretty regularly, and of course that keeps the caterpillars at bay. It works so well, and it only works on caterpillars, which is really nice. But I kind of stopped doing that later on in the summer, just time, other things going on, and that means that my brassica leaves are full of holes. And you know what? That's part of life. Brassicas aren't as good during the summer anyway, so you know, it is what it is. However, I don't have to, although I am planting some new ones for fall, I don't have to fill my garden with new ones. I can actually keep these ones going. Brassicas are, most brassicas are biennial, so I think that's how you say it, they don't produce seeds until the second year. So these brassicas will take me all the way through fall and spring of next year if I let them. If we get a really, really deep freeze, then I'll have to cover them. Like if we get down into the low 20s, they will freeze and die. But if I cover them, they'll actually survive that. But in general, what I did last year, I just kept them going through until we got a deep freeze. I didn't cover them, they died. So this year I might do it a little differently, who knows. But either way it goes, they can take me through fall. And these can provide me with kale. I have dino kale, lacinato, dino is lacinato. Lacinato kale, I have curly kale, I have collards. So I am going to get these plants ready to take me through fall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strip off all of the leaves, and that will remove any caterpillars that are already on them, etc. Get all of that done. And yeah, and then pretty soon they will be growing new leaves for me. And I'll probably hit them with some fertilizer over the next couple days as well, just to kind of promote that new growth. But they'll start growing leaves again, and then once those new leaves start growing, I will be spraying the plants with BT to keep the caterpillars at bay because it is still warm here. Now once the weather gets cool, you don't have to worry about them too much. But right now, while it's still warm, bugs are still a thing. So I'll spray them with BT so that I can get some nice fresh leaves throughout my fall season. All right, so let's get that done. Okay, so I finished these, my curly kale, my dino kale, and my, these collards here. Oh, let me turn this down a little bit. And these collards here. Something I did find were a lot of little, I think they're Japanese beetles. So I think those have been contributing, because I've seen caterpillars too, but I think the Japanese beetles have been contributing to the holes in the leaves as well. So I'm going to give these plants a nice spray with the spinosad pesticide first, and then I'll do the BT. Once they start growing, give them a nice spray with the spinosad pesticide first, and then I'll do the BT once they start growing more leaves. But the spinosad, that way it'll kill any of the Japanese beetles, because I saw some small ones. I smushed quite a few with my gloves. So yeah, but this is what they look like, and in a few days they'll start sprouting new growth. I also am seeing lots of ants as I'm over here, and so I'll be kind of coming through with my spinosad and just soaking some of this area to get rid of some of the ants. Like, I know I'm never going to get rid of all the ants out here, obviously, and I don't want to. They're part of the ecosystem, but where I have tons of them, I just gotta, like, you know, get rid of them so that I can continue to grow things here healthily. So I'm going to get the other side of the bed, and I think that'll be it for today. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope that you found the content helpful and enjoyable. And of course, leave any comments or questions that you have below. And if you have not done so already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm gardening in North Texas Zone 8A, but I invite everyone to subscribe if you're a gardener and want to learn more about gardening. So many things cross zones. I know I learn from people all over the US, so go ahead and do that. And of course, share this video or this channel with any other gardeners you know who you think would benefit from this information. Until we meet again, have a great one. Bye.